Okay, coming back at you guys after 3 days off, because on the first video that I was doing on this cardio bicycle training video, towards the end, probably had about 10 minutes left in the workout or so, and 10 minutes in the warm down. I was talking about a lot of things. Then I went to the camera and found that the video card, the SD card, was full. So cut that off. But I wanted to finish it up kind of where I left off. So this is a whole nother training session, 45-minute training session down here. And I have about less than 20 minutes to go in the 45-minute workout. And then like I said, I usually do about 10 minutes of warm down, and I'll explain that later. But I want to pick it up. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is more about the cadence and speed cadence. When you get into a higher cadence, you're spinning faster. It becomes more of a centrifugal force that you're using your energy for, instead of a pushing down force. By a faster spinning force, your muscles are going to pump up with lactic acid a lot less, unless you're at a very high wattage. You're really pushing a lot of wattage, and your legs are going to pump up anyway, as well as your heart and lungs. You're just going to do it like a full-on max out. And those are good for when you're doing sprints or interval training. But in general, in a pretty decent, moderate workout, not too hard, to be aware of your cadence and be aware of your spinning force. Like, that's a higher spinning force, and when you spin faster, you're recruiting more muscles, because you're actually pulling up a little bit on the pedals as well as pushing down. So you have more efficiency being spent in that whole circular spinning force. Most riders are going to be most efficient between 90 and 105 cadence. Even sometimes you get up into 110 cadence. That's really fast, but it's still pushing a lot of wattage, and your legs can recover. See, right there is 100, 109, 110 cadence right there. 100, yeah, 9 or 10. So say you've just gone up a hill, or you've done a sprint, and you want to keep a fast overall time, to recover, go into a higher cadence. So you can play with that. Heck, on some hills, you might only be pushing about a 70 cadence. And it's usually definitely better. I want to say stand up, but you're only going to be able to stand up so long. When you're sitting down, pushing a lot of wattage at a low cadence, you can still use that circular motion to generate wattage. So even at a slower cadence, you can pull up on the pedals, get that circular motion going on. Get a lot more blood flow that way without pumping up. And like I was talking about earlier, you have to ride motocross the same way. If you're holding things, using strength too often, it's going to pump up. So that's why riding technique, smoothness, a rhythm to your riding, finessing all the controls, body movement, upper body staying loose, that's key. You have to have that. I don't care how good a shape you're in. You could take the most fit triathlete in the world. And if he went out and tried to manhandle the bike, he'd pump up in a couple laps and be over the limit with his lactic threshold. I know for a fact because I used to know a racer back in the day. It was pretty good. He did all the local big races and he was a pretty decent rider. But his brother was in the triathlons and he was really good at that. And his brother didn't know how to ride motocross very well. But once in a while, he'd hop on his brother's bike, go out there and try to do a moto or so. And that's exactly what happened to him. He was in way better shape than his brother, who raced motocross, couldn't do more than 2 or 3 laps without having to stop. So, riding technique is the first key. And then next, most important, is cardio fitness. And then third is strength. So, even in your strength workouts, you don't want to get your upper body too pumped up at any time. That's why most of my programs are designed in circuit training. So you're going from one exercise to the other. Each exercise uses opposite muscle groups. Like sometimes you're doing chest and triceps, and then other times you're doing rowing, which is more back and biceps. You can switch it up, switch it back and forth. You don't want to train like a weightlifter and get pumped up. You got to keep the blood flowing. And that's key, man. So it's riding techniques first, cardio, strength. It doesn't take a whole lot of strength to ride motocross. And again, I've said this before, if you're using a lot of strength, you're going to pump up. I don't care how good a shape you are or how strong you are. So then you have the other big important aspect of motocross, the mental, the psychological side of things. That has a big factor too in the energy that you're using. Talked about that earlier. Your brain can use 60% of your energy when you're just sitting still. So that psychological aspect is super important too. And you know, whether you're training or racing, especially racing, you always want to get into that, what I call the ideal performance state of mind. So you're relaxed, but at the same time, you're ready. You know, you're super aware of everything, but you're not distracted by anything. You get in the zone. And the more you train and practice and race, the more familiar and easier it is to get in that zone. Like today, for instance, I didn't feel like training. You know, it's Christmas time. We had a Christmas party yesterday. I didn't do anything for 2 days. It's nice to relax. But I know that if I do this moderate workout for 45 minutes out of my day, I'm going to feel a whole lot better the whole rest of the day and tomorrow. And once I get warmed up, and after about 15-20 minutes, you know, my brain psychologically, I just kind of get in that zone and do the workout. You know, it's no big deal. I don't think about it. It feels kind of good, especially these moderate workouts. You know, you get into a hard workout with interval training and that, it's hard. I mean, you're suffering, but you are glad when it's over. But then you feel way better. Also, get that euphoric high. And like I was saying earlier, you have to organize all the routines that you're doing. So you give that demand for your body to adapt and get stronger at whatever demands you're putting on it, and that's through sport-specific training. And then you have your easy days and recovery days. keep building stronger, get into a rhythm with that, and keep improving your fitness for motocross. You know, motocross, if you are one of the lucky ones that have, that's all you have to do is prepare and race motocross. The season is so long that you have to stay in good shape all the time. So you're not really peaking and then having some time off, peaking, having time off. You just have to keep a high level of fitness pretty much throughout the whole year. You know, even the guys, maybe some of them take a month off during the year, and that would be stretching it. And already they have to get back into testing and training and preparing for the following year. So, you know, you just got to keep a high level of fitness the whole time. You can't overtrain, that's my point. No matter what level you're at and how much time you're able to put in, you don't want to overtrain. Try to take shortcuts and raise your level of fitness quicker, save time. It just doesn't work that way. Mentally and physically, it's not as good. Say you're pretty far out of shape. You just got to start out gradually, not too much intensity, not too long of a duration, but the consistency. You give your body what it's comfortable with, taking in, getting that stress, getting that demand on it. It can adapt to it without being like, whoa, totally exhausted, sore, stiff. No, that's not good. And that's what I try to do in all the training programs, weekly routines, is have the easier ones for the guys that are not in great shape to begin with and don't have a lot of time to put into it or whatever, you know. Try to have a lot of different ones in there for everybody, all the way up to the pro level. Heart rate's about 139, cadence 93, speed 19.9, almost 20. Again, I was talking about this Cyclops trainer. It's the Fluid 2. That's the best one I found for the price. I mean, you can get into more technical, more expensive ones, but this one I think is really good. Hooks up to your bicycle, and then you can read all the metrics onto a device on your bike, upload it to Strava. If you don't already have Strava, it's a great free training app. You can log all your training workouts on there, whether it be cycling, running, and mostly just cycling and running, and keeps all your stats. And you can put it on your Strava account and then choose friends, follow friends and stuff. It's pretty cool. Kind of gives you that incentive when you're training to, if you're going for a hard workout, you know, to really push it. So, yeah, this Fluid 2 Cyclops trainer, like I said before, is supposed to be about the same speed if you were on flat ground with no wind factors. So it gives you a good idea. I mean, I like that part. The trainer I had before this, it wasn't accurate like that. So you really didn't know how fast you were really going in real life, if it would have been in real life on the road. But this one you do, so it's pretty cool. Cyclops Fluid 2 trainer. Yeah, so what else did I want to tell you about? Maybe. But for right now, I think in these 3 parts, and it gives you a lot of information about your cardio training and what's important, how to do it to get the best results. Oh yeah, another thing was, every time you train, you don't have to max yourself out. Now, if you're one of the guys that maybe you can only train 3 times a week, that's kind of different. And each day you train should be a pretty hard workout for you at your skill level. Not skill level so much, but conditioning, your level of conditioning. But if you're a guy that has time to train 5 times a week, even 4 times a week, or 6 times a week, then you definitely want to have your easier days, recovery days. And I know that a lot of riders don't like to do stretching. But not only is it important for your body, but once you get used to it and you can do it pretty well, it's good for your mind too, psychologically. It's relaxing. And that's a big thing as a motocross racer, is to be able to relax yourself. There's a lot of adrenaline pumping and anxiety when you're going to a big race, especially. And it's too easy to get too wound up, too excited before you need to be. Use up extra energy. Same thing on the starting line. You want to get in that ideal performance state. That means you're not too excited, and of course you're not, just kind of too relaxed, but get in that ideal performance state. So you got to control your nervousness, your anxiety, and get in that state of mind where you can perform at your best. And stretching is a good way to learn how to relax yourself. And if you're real tight in some areas of your body, you need to spend a lot of time the first couple weeks at stretching to get those areas stretched out. But I gotta slow this thing down because I'm well into my 10-minute warm down recovery phase now. So I took it to a lower gear so it's easier to spin. Recover. I mean, even in this workout, legs are still pumped up somewhat with lactic acid. So it's good to warm down to get that extra blood flow through your legs, flush out that lactic acid, helps in recovery. So yeah, we'll warm her down like I usually do, about 10 minutes on the warm down. Okay, now, well, I kind of forget what I was talking about there in the recovery. Oh man, sometimes I get so many thoughts going through my head I forget what I was just thinking about a minute ago. Oh yeah, I know what it was. It's kind of natural for riders to get too excited before a race, especially a big race, and to get nervous about it. Oh yeah, I know what it really was now. It was the when you're not stretched, when you have some muscles that are really tight, kind of stubborn to get stretched out where as long as they should be. Yeah, you gotta spend more time at it first couple weeks. But after you spend 2 weeks, maybe 3, maybe a month, and you're satisfied with all your stretching movements, how long you can make your muscles, it's easy to maintain that. Hit them at least 6 days a week and go through all your stretches, but you only have to hold each stretch for about 10 seconds, maybe a little longer if you want to. If you still have some places you're not stretching as far as you think you should, just do them 2 or 3 times for 10 seconds or so. In other words, if you're in a stretch, then just kind of relax that stretch for a few seconds and stretch it again for 10 seconds. Relax it for 10 seconds, stretch it again for 10 seconds to get those kind of stubborn parts stretching better. It's pretty much like anything. Once you're used to it, it's just a habit. And there's the key, habit. You have to make your fitness training a habit. Practice on the bike, a habit. It's just in your lifestyle. I mean, that's what you make time for, and you just do it. If you want to improve your riding skills, you have to be in good enough shape. No matter what skill level your riding skills are at, you got to be in good enough shape to ride long enough to improve and work on your riding techniques without getting so tired that you're just kind of surviving out there and you don't have the endurance mentally or physically to improve your riding skills. Because until all your riding skills, there's like 55 absolute techniques in motocross I talk about in my videos and practice manual. That's such an important foundation to have all that, so it's automatic. It just happens, you don't think about it. But to get to that point, you got to work on each technique separately long enough for it to become automatic. I'll explain, all this stuff is explained in the videos, especially in Volume 3 series. So, make training a habit, and the more you do it, the more you'll enjoy it. Because it does get, just like motocross, it gets in your blood. And it releases endorphins. The more you train, the more endorphins you have to be released. So the more high you get from it, the more euphoricness you get from it. It's just like anything. The more you do it, the better you get. So that about winds down this 45-minute cardio workout in the bike trainer. And I hope it helps you, man. I'll be adding new stuff, so hope it's all working for you.